December of '06, I received a letter. I opened it up, and the first sentence said, "I would like to offer the Holocaust Museum a chance to review some World War II era photographs in my possession." Beginning or mid-January, a bubble wrap package arrives on my desk, and I open it up, and the first page says 21 June, Auschwitz. And so that was the point where we knew we might have something here. Many people think that they have photographs of Auschwitz, and very few people actually do. Because of all the overwhelming evidence of what we know was going on in Auschwitz, it kind of makes it even more chilling that they were having so much fun doing it.
It would be nice to figure out at some point is who these women are, if these are wives.
Can we look at this page here?
There's relatively little material that was taken in Auschwitz other than mugshots. The most famous are the large collection of photographs documenting the deportation of Hungarian Jews in May 1944.
And these are specifically the officers who were in charge of that deportation, who were in charge of the arrival of 437,000 Hungarian Jews in a span of 55 days, of which the vast majority of them did not survive. These are the men who did it.
The importance of finding out who the original owner was vital to authenticate the artifact itself and also to locate it in time and place.
In the album, only 3 people are actually identified by name in the captions. Mengele I knew on sight, but others we needed to look at lapels, we needed to look at where they were standing, what their uniforms looked like, what event this might possibly be, to determine who they were.
We noticed that it's the same person who appears over and over in almost every single photograph. And he often will caption photos as me with so-and-so, but he never identified himself by name.
He was seen frequently in the presence of someone of higher rank. And we also knew from the photograph album that both men were promoted to different ranks on June 21st, 1944. Here's the listing of Karl Höcke's name that you can see by the notation of his rank and the date of promotion, June 21st, 1944, as indicated in the photo album.
One of the two was Karl Höcke, who was the adjutant to the commandant. And then the light bulbs went off and we said, oh, it would make sense that he would be always standing next to the commandant. And we noticed that in a number of pictures he has an adjutant cord, which is a cord that you wear over your shoulder, which really clinched the identification.
Karl Höcke was an Obersturmführer. He was a career concentration camp officer. He went to Auschwitz in 1944. It was a fairly big deal to establish that it was Karl Höcke's album because of his proximity to power was extreme.
Auschwitz wasn't just a series of concentration camps, it was also a German community. And the fact that you have this resort.
Solahütte was the SS retreat, and it was within the grounds of Auschwitz. That people go on vacation is not a surprise, that they felt a need to build a retreat where SS personnel can frolic at the same time that they were murdering the Jews of Europe, and to build it as part of the same complex is an amazing thing.
There's one photograph, it's a sing-along picture, and along the bottom are 7 of the highest-ranking officers in Auschwitz, just leaning back, smiling, while the men behind them sing. Höcke is there. Otto Moll, the supervisor of the gas chambers, and Hirsch and Bayer and Kramer and Franz Hessler, who is the head of the women's camp in Birkenau, and Mengele. To have them all together is such a rare photograph, and then to have them enjoying themselves all together, it's really frightening.
Here we have a case where people that we investigate and research, all of a sudden we're seeing them, in some cases for the first time.
There are the photographs of the Helferreited of the female auxiliaries that came.
And they were female auxiliary officers who worked the telecommunications between Auschwitz and Berlin and Auschwitz and the other camps.
They're young and they're out for a good time.
And there's a series of 6 photographs where Hooker is handing out blueberries, bowls of blueberries at Solahütte.
And one young girl is pretending to cry. No more blueberries. And she's making mock tears.
This is at a time when Elie Wiesel and Primo Levi and so many other Holocaust surviving victims were in part of the Auschwitz complex.
The last series of photographs that are in the album are ones of a funeral of, it's called, of a terror attack.
Towerangriff, terror attack underneath, that was the Nazi code language for bombing.
There's a color guard. There's a parade for these men. There are women and children there mourning them with flag-draped coffins. This was 3 weeks before the end. It tells us they still hadn't come to grips with the fact that it was over.
We all know that monsters do monstrous things. But when you see people who look like they're nice guys in a fairly benign setting, and we know for a fact that they were doing monstrous things, then it raises all sorts of questions about what's man's capacity for evil. In a different setting, would they still be monsters?
Where they were all too frighteningly human.
It makes you think about how people could come to this. That they don't look like monsters. They look like me. They look like my next door neighbor. Is he capable of that? Am I?